Hello everybody, Reggie Time here with some 4-card Pot Limit Omaha live play action. I made the hand review video yesterday. I made some posts to Facebook about my latest PLO venture, and now we're doing a live play video because I watched a shit ton of live play videos last night. Some like Play and Explains from Jane Andes, a little bit of Phil Galfond, and it's given me an absolute raging hard-on to play Pot Limit Omaha. After watching those videos, I watched about 3 hours, maybe 2.5, 3 hours of content. I identified a lot of things I've been doing that I thought was good, that is fucking rubbish. And it's mostly around hands that I've been folding, that I shouldn't be folding, and then playing some hands that I probably shouldn't be playing. And because it's Pot Limit Omaha, it's too difficult to kind of say, this is what I've been like, and actually name hands. But as we get delivered those hands during the session, I'm going to comment on if I'm doing something different now to what I was doing yesterday. I'm going to highlight those spots. If you are into PLO, please do comment on the videos. We're probably all bad regs, aren't we? So I always take all comments with a pinch of salt, but I'm definitely interested in hearing what people think about some of the plays that I make. Because even if I don't agree with you, then it will get me thinking as to why I don't agree with you. Wow, this guy just limp hasted on the button, did he? Did he limp hasted on the button and then just not raise the turn? So yeah, even if I don't necessarily agree with you, it will still be thought provoking for both of us if we have the conversation. And I'm kind of looking for that. I'm going to be posting quite a lot of PLO content to my Facebook group for discussion. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. Most people still are more into No Limit Hold'em than they are Pot Limit Omaha. I get that. But I just want to kind of be posting hands, posting my thoughts, getting feedback, forcing myself to think more about some of the spots that I get myself into, and get feedback on them. And again, not necessarily looking for feedback to justify my play or to challenge my play, just feedback to make me think about, do I agree with that? Do I not agree with that? If I don't agree with it, what is it that I don't agree with? I'm not going to be looking for arguments with people. It very much be if I don't agree with something that someone says to me, I will say I don't agree, and then I will give my reasons for it in a honest and constructive way. And hopefully the feedback I receive will be the same. Right? So what do we have here? We have a gut shot to the nuts and a flush draw to the nuts. So can we justify just raising here? We're going to. Because we have 12 outs to the absolute stone nuts. Looks like we're going to be up against a set here. We have a straight here on a paired but flushing board. Time to get there, I guess. Oh, fuck. That's a mistake by me. I should have jammed. Now the board's paired and I don't know what to do. I thought he was all in. That sucks. Maybe it's going to save me money because now I don't think we can put any more money on this board. I think I thought he was all in. Now he's going to have to fold because I'm not drawing to non-nutty stuff on paired boards. That is disappointing. But given my read was I think he has a set, we can't really then fold the turn or even two pairs. Most of those improves. That was a mistake from me, but it was a lack of concentration mistake. I was going to jam. And when we check raise that flop and then not jam with that draw is a huge mistake. But it wasn't a mistake that I didn't know what I was doing mistake. It was a mistake of I wasn't concentrating, and for some reason I just thought he was all in. So yeah, that's a making a video mistake rather than a what the fuck are you doing, Reg, you fat idiot mistake. going to keep. I don't love this situation, but while he just keeps betting one blind, we're just going to keep calling. And then he goes 10 on the end, and we're going to fold. Today's video is probably just gonna run till the end of the session. I started recording a tiny bit earlier, but then I realised I forgot to order the pies for my mum to collect as she has her daily walk down the high street. I don't send my mum for the pies, by the way. She just likes to go out for a walk, and because obviously in these COVID times, I'd rather she wasn't going in any shops, but she's quite a strong-willed woman, and she is like, no, I'm going to go to the pie shop today. Do you want anything? I said, well, yeah, fine. I'll order it, put it in our name, and you just collect it. Doesn't feel great. My mum's going in shops given the current situation, but at the end of the day, it's her choice whether she wants to do these things. And I try and advise her on what she should and shouldn't be doing, but ultimately, she's still got a life to live, hasn't she? Not that going to the pie shop's living much of a fucking life. Don't like the 6 and the 8 here. It's a multi-way pot, so we're just going to let it go. I don't think my hand has enough nut potential. It's got like the nut flush draw potential and like 2 cards to a nut Broadway potential, but I don't think there's enough nut potential to want to take that hand multi-way, even against some like remarkably loose players. That's one thing that I picked up from the videos last night, that from Jay Nandez especially. In multi-way pots, you need to be like really tight in the hands you choose to come into pots with, and then you need to be really, really tight post flop in the hands you're choosing to put chips in with. And I think I was being a little bit too speculative with my hands like this. Yesterday I would have slam dunk tried to ISO this hand, and now I think it's just a fold in a multi-way pot. But yesterday I'd have been like, oh boom, yeah, we've got like a suited ace jack and some crap side cards, but 2 limpers, they're going to be rubbish players, let's isolate. But no, you've got to play really, really tight, and that's like from a no limit hold'em perspective, where when you're playing against players of these types, like the 79, 78, the 61, 69, 64, 72 V pips, you're incentivized to play much looser against them in order to isolate them and be the guy that stacks them. And that's kind of the mentality that I took into Pot Limit Omaha, when it appears that the mentality might be slightly differently. Like in these pots where there's like going to be multiple players try to see flops every time, limping so they can call. They're not limping to fold, they're limping to call, they're limping to avoid being raised. They're limping to avoid being 3-bet. Like, you just never achieve isolation, and then often you're going to be in multi-way pots with not enough nut potential in your hand to continue. So yeah, that's something that it's a big adjustment I've made since last night, and I really do feel as if it's going to help me massively in these games, because I was doing fucking rubbish in multi-way pots, and looking back, that's probably because of my hand selection. Although that said, I think we're just going to take a punt here against 2 remarkably loose players with like a decent rundown. We're just going to punt it. Not going to raise the aces here because they're not going to perform too well post flop, given that we have 3 diamonds in our hand. And we are drawing dead on the flop, which is never a nice place to be, because he just flops the jack 7. Dead. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with my decision to pile all the money in there, given the hands we got it in against. It's a crying shame we were flopped absolutely stone dead. But yeah, I can live with that. If you are a Pot Limit Omaha player, by the way, and there are some who watch my games, who watch my videos. I got some contact from people yesterday. Um, this is like all these 5-10 games are like 10 cent, 20 cent PLO. There's plentiful traffic in this group. You can easily get 3 tables off peak and 5 tables on peak if you want to try a 5 table PLO, which is too much for me at the moment. But if you do look at them, just look at the games. If you do want to get into them, please do reach out, because if you're good, as you can see, there's plenty of dead money around, and don't be too concerned by all these like short stacks. Most of us do buy in short, but unlike the no limit hold'em games where they buy in short, sometimes there's not a lot of hit and running going on. You can get incredibly deep with some incredibly loose players. I mean, I've been sat in games where I've been 300 blinds deep with players with literally 90 V pips. Yeah. So if you are a PLO player and you want to get into some of these games, please do get in touch. I would be beyond delighted to hear from you. If you're a no limit hold'em player wanting to transition to pot limit Omaha and want some soft games in which to in which to start, then again, you can see for yourself. Now, the only challenging things about playing in these games is going to be the short-term variance, because long-term, if you are trying and you are improving, you will quickly become a decent winning player in these games, for almost for certain. And the rake isn't even that high. Usually, like Jane Anders was talking in the video yesterday about how like the rake is one of your biggest enemies in this game. In these clubs, it's not as bad because the rate just isn't as high. Yeah, the rate caps are so much lower. It's the same 5%, but the rate caps. So I don't know what the rate cap in this particular club is. Either 3 blinds or 4 blinds, but that's it. You know, maximum rake taken is 4 big blinds plus a jackpot drop. So 5 big blinds is the maximum rake taken. It often doesn't get anywhere near reaching the cap. So yeah, and on top of that, you will get rate back in these games too. So if you are a pot limit Omar player and you're not into playing the fast fold variety of the game, then there really is no reason for you not to get in touch and say, you know, I think I like the look of them. You know, it's a low rake environment, it's a higher rake environment than most of the main sites, and the games look insanely soft. There's absolutely no reason not to get in touch and say, let's have a look. Let's see what's going on. Again, not enough going on with this hand to want to isolate. It's another hand I absolutely 100% would have isolated the other day. Yesterday we'd have had this guy coming because he's coming every hand. Possibly this guy would have gone probably 4 ways to a flop with a hand that I thought yesterday was pretty good, like double suited ace. Yeah, and I was losing. Not big. Well, here's the problem. I wasn't losing big pots with these types of hands. I was losing lots and lots of small pots with them, and then kind of flopping small bits and pieces, and just calling bets in multi-way pots where people are typically very nutted and very passive. And yeah, I was doing just that one revelation alone of like some of the hands that I was playing that I shouldn't be playing, and then counter to that some of the hands that I wasn't playing. I should have been playing. It feels like just by picking up those 2 massive golden nuggets of information, it's massively improved me as a player. And that might sound bonkers, but that's how it feels. It genuinely feels like just those 2 things I've like plugged 2 pretty big regular mistakes that I was making, and that's huge as a player. If you can, if you're unknowingly making mistakes on a regular basis, then discovering that and plugging that leak can be absolutely enormous. Right here, got a bit of a rundown and a suited ace on the button. I would peel here, but out of position We're not going to. If we were deeper on the button, I would definitely appeal. But again, we're only 40 blinds deep with this guy. If we were 200 blinds deep with this guy and we had the button, I definitely would have peeled this hand. Double suited jacks is going to be an open from what is effectively middle position. We flop a set, and no one's got enough money to make me not want to just pile money in. I mean, if we are up against a bigger set or the straight, then there's nothing we're going to be able to do at these stack depths. We're just going to have to take our medicine. And we are up against the nuts here and nothing here, so we want the board to pair but not an ace or a king, so we lose to him now instead. Just be grateful there, I think, that if this was like suited, if this was 7-7 and the king was an ace rather than the king, I would be peeling here with a nut draw and chance to flop a set. The pair gut shot and a backdoor flush draw, we're going to be calling on the flop. Maybe not actually, because the guy doing the betting has no money to win even if we hit. So maybe we just, if he folds, I think we're just going to raise and try and get it in against this guy, or get it in against this guy. And if this other player gets in the way, then probably pass away. Well, not pass away, that's not a good way of describing it. So we're up against an overpair, and we're into the backdoor flush. So every time we're getting all in, we are losing at the moment, but that's just the way poker goes sometimes. As I said in yesterday's video, for the next few weeks I plan to just grind lots and lots and lots of hours of this game. Not with any expectation to win, to be frank. It's more just about playing, watching as much content as I can, and just playing and hopefully improving and improving and improving. I'm not expecting to, if I make some money, or if I increase my account on this in this club, then great. If I don't, as long as I feel I'm continuing to improve and I feel I have like a definite tangible edge, I'll just keep playing, and then hopefully get my rewards in the longer term. Basically willing to sacrifice my expected no limit profits for a good few weeks in the hope of developing into a player that can exceed the profits he was making at no limit down the line. I think like being willing to take like a short-term hit on my expected earn to take the long view of a small sacrifice now will get me a bigger payoff down the line. That's the view I'm taking at the moment. It's never a view I've had before. I've always wanted to just come into the games and win straight away. That was unrealistic, given that I'm a very inexperienced and clearly, based on just watching a few videos yesterday, bad pot limit Omaha player. So there's gonna have to take some. Let's take some medicine before we start expecting to turn a regular profit, and that's something that I'm willing to do. Not filter needs changing in this. Too late now, though. Too late now. We're stuck with it. Another hand that I would have been isolating yesterday. But we're folding today. Positive news is that was 4-1 at the start of the week. Now it's 3-5, so get in there. And I think these stats are now out of date. There's only 6,000 hands, so take its time to change. Pretty miserable looking flop multi-way for our two kings. In a multi-way pot, which can afford the kings to a pot-sized bet, even though the guy's a whale. So we flop set here and we block top set. I think we want to start putting some money in this pot quickly. Shouldn't change anything. And that shouldn't change anything either. I'm going to check here though and give someone a chance to bluff. There's so many draws that I've missed. I'm going to try and give someone the opportunity to bluff or to make a thin value bet. And he has the backs into the wheel. That is disappointing. Not running well. I can live with that though. I can live with not running well. As long as I feel I'm playing well, I can live with not running well. I think we're going to bump this up with a pure rundown. And we flop a wrap. It's not a board we're going to be betting too often, though. We're going to check. I think we might go for a raise if we get the chance. We don't get the chance, but we do turn the nuts on an incredibly dynamic board. So we're just going to mash the pot button. And sadly we take it down without, well, not sadly, it's always nice just to win the pot, but we would have enjoyed getting some action there. And the whales just keep coming. As you can see now, this table was pretty damn shallow with 20 big blind stacks not too long ago. Now we've got a table full of terrible players, and there's plenty of money at it. Again, this is a hand yesterday I absolutely would have been playing. On the button here, maybe we would call. Don't like the 3. Hope not to get raised here. That would make me sad. Not in love with my kings here, but obviously we're going to play the same with the aces. Don't like having 3 of the same suit in my hand, but we still get chances to flop top sets. Problem with flopping top set here is we block middle set too. So we're actually going to just bet really quite small here. And here we've got a good shot, not much else. We've been check shoved on with the nuts, so we're happy. And he's pretty much dead. I'm just going to keep checking back here with the kings. Call river if it doesn't pot it. I think we go for a value bet now. Didn't think he'd have a 3. I thought he'd lead a 3 on the river. Okay. Never mind. I thought a 3 would lead for sure there on the river. But what do I know? Not much about him, clearly. Well, I know he's a fucking idiot, but that's about as far. Well, he might not be a fucking idiot. He might be a totally nice guy. It's just, he's terrible at polymioma, rather than being a nice guy like me, who is less terrible. Another hand that I would have considered opening yesterday with like 3 broadways under the gun. Going to be out of position to multiple players more often than not. It's a hand I find difficult to play. Maybe it's just not on open anyway. Maybe most people find that difficult to play. We have an open ender here and a pair. Start with check. Do I want to play this hand against this player? Don't think so. Turn the nuts. And flush gets there on the river. I think we're just going to block here and fold to a raise. I think one seat further on I'd open this, but not from this particular seat. Again, another hand. And I've seen the ace king and the suited ace and thought that's enough to race with. Maybe it is for some guys. Not for me at the moment. Basically, in some of the videos I was watching last night, Jay Nandez was just urging, not me personally, but it felt like he was talking to me, urging tight play. Then I noticed his stats, and he's like a really, really, really good PLO player who can probably play more hands than most. And he was playing like, I think it was 25 in Zoom for some of his masterclass content, and he was only playing like 26-19 with like a 7% 3-bet. Now I'm not 3-betting close to 7%, I don't think, no, 5%. So I don't need to be playing 26-19 right now. I'm quite happy to be playing like, I don't know, similar to my Nolan Mulholland stats, I guess. 21-15, 20-16, with like a slightly lower 3-bet because I'm just not as good as him, so I've no business playing as many hands as he does at the moment. So when you see like a really good player and coach like Jay Nandez urging you to play tightly, then especially when you're a nitbag like me, it's very reassuring. And yeah, playing tightly is exactly what I'm going to be doing. We have like a really shit flush draw here. We have a weak pair and a gut shot. Let it go. Now, I was talking to Duesenberg about this briefly on Monday when he kind of ventured that, you need to play much looser in pot limit Omaha. And I said to him then, I don't think you do. I really don't think you do. There's still like lots and lots of unplayable hands. They just look better, but they're still unplayable. And I wasn't sure about that. It's just what I thought. But then when I see Jay Nandez bashing out and maybe he plays more loose and aggressive at higher stakes because maybe he has to. But when I see him making 25 PLO content and having like a 26 VPIP and a 19 PFR, it encourages me that a lot of my basic PLO instincts are correct. I was just choosing some of the wrong types of hands on which I was building my still relatively narrow ranges. So yeah, I really felt like I got quite a lot from my, I can't call it a study session, but my watching of videos yesterday. I'm going to watch some more today. I'm basically just going to, I went out and got a Run It Once Essential, but I'm not going to watch Nandez and Galfon together anymore because they're different players. They have a different approach. So for the time being, I'm just going to focus on the Nandez content. I'm going to watch as many of his like play and explains and him playing live as I can. See what I can pick up. And if I don't watch as much Galfond, and I do love watching Phil Galfond, he's one of my absolute favourite people in poker. If I don't watch as much Galfond in the short term, that's fine. I don't want to be like watching two players with two different styles and then getting confused as to like what I'm doing. I think like if you're trying to learn from more than one source, it can often be quite confusing. I think we are going to isolate this. We have some rundown qualities to the hand with the 9-7-10, and we also have the nut suit. So I think from the cut-off, this is going to be okay to isolate. We flop a pair and some backdoors, so not a lot. Turn isn't good. We get bet into, we get a call, we're just going to fold. If this we had a suit to the ace, we'd be raising there, isolating. Flop top two here. I'm going to make a larger c-bet sizing. Hope our friend's in there with an ace. He doesn't want to fold. The 8 changes nothing unless he has exactly pocket 8s. If the ace was suited, we'd consider isolating here. There's another hand yesterday where I would just sin the limp, I'd have sin the ace and the king, and I would have mashed the pot button. And then been left with a hand that doesn't make the nuts very often, post flop. I say, this video, I'm going to be playing for at least another 45 minutes, maybe longer, depending on when my mum comes. We just had our house redecorated and we finally got all the new furniture and other things, the ornaments, the other soft furnishings and things, so she wants to come down and see it. I normally go and visit mum at her house. She doesn't that often come to our house, but she's coming down today because she wants to see it, so I'll be stopping playing when she comes, of course. It'd be very rude of me. Yeah, come and look at my house, man. Do you mind just sitting over there and shutting the fuck up because I'm playing some pot limit home half a pennies. I mean, she probably would, but I'd like to think I'm a little bit more welcoming to my mum than that. 10 Jack Queen 4, he's just posted, so I'm going to go with a slightly wider ISO. We instantly get punished for that by being 3-bet, and we are not going to be defending. Guy with no money. And that we know nothing about. Goes with a 3-bet. He's got 3 jacks and an ace, so we're in good shape. And then we lose on the river. Ace 9, King 7 again from a limper in the cut-up. I think this is definitely an open. And we flop. Well, in my opinion, I'm going to treat as the nuts. And if we beat, then we beat. Now we have the second nuts. We only lose here to exactly ace 8, which he does not have. No jack. Happy days. Take it down. So even though we're losing this session, you can see by my stacks, we started with 200 big blinds at each table, and this one, even though it's got 300 on, we got felted early doors in it, so we're losing at this table too. Get off. So but we're only down a tiny bit, so we're not down hugely. But as you're a ball witness to, we haven't ran too clever, and we've got our money in reasonably well a lot of the time. So that's all I'm supposed to do. Just do that, and then the cards will fall where they fall. I think we're going to go with another ISO here with the King Queen Jack 8 on the button. We have to call here. Don't love it, but we're getting an insane price, and we do have a good shot to the nuts. Let's check back here with our King Jack and make the nuts on the turn. I mean, just look at this. We're getting like a ridiculous. We're getting 10 to 1 to spike an offsuit 10. So let's just fucking do it, shall we? Okay, let's not. Lots going on in lots of these places here. Just gonna call here and hope the board doesn't pair, which it doesn't. Second nuts over here. We lose to deuce 3 of hearts, and if he's got that, then hallelujah. And he folds, and happy days. Our slow play there almost certainly got us some extra money. So we have the second nuts here. It's a pot size bet. And it's just the second nut, so we just have to call it. It's a small pot. And he had the third nut, so happy days. It would have been a much tougher spot if that pot was much bigger. Calling a pot size bet with the second nuts, if it was a 40 big blind pot, would have been a lot less comfortable. Quite enjoy seeing a squeeze coming here. Don't see a squeeze. We do flop a nut flush draw and a nut shot. And we get no action. Calling again here on the paired board, which I'm not in love with the nut flush draw because he's bet one big blind. And we can already tag this player as a pink tag. Get him. King of A's. Get him. Destroy him. Do it. Have something good. Queens versus Kings. That's not good. Red. Oh. 20%, 56%. Go on. Get there. Yay! We have the whale with the stack to our right. Beautiful. That's what I love about poker. You can just root for some fucker else sometimes. And when it comes off, you're delighted for them. But for a purely fucking selfish reason. It's amazing, excuse me, how much more you enjoy a game. Weeks ago, or the other months, like we'd have been getting it all in these spots and losing just like 20 bigs here, 40 bigs here, and I'd have been convincing myself it's a game that can't be beat. The variance is too high, the rate's too high, etc. And that comes from having a fundamental lack of understanding of the game and how to play it. And I didn't realise my fundamentals were so bad back then. And that, again, just watching a little bit of content last night, identifying like mistakes I've been making, which also then helps you identify the mistakes your opponents are making more clearly, which means you can gain better reads on them because you'll understand the mistakes they're actually making, how to exploit them better. I mean, I'm not remotely fazed by the losing we've been doing so far today because I can see I'm in good games. I'm feeling like I'm playing well, and you know full well if you're in good games and you're playing well or you're playing better than the standard of your opponents, you know long term as an experienced poker player, eventually you'll get the money. And I really do believe that if I keep the study up, and I need to do that, I can't just watch one night of videos and then think that's it, you've cracked it, Reg. Just grind now. We need to keep. Oh, that's a shame. He's gone. We need to keep that. Keep the work rate up on the video grind. And I'm most confident I've been that I can make the PLO life stick this time. Because if I get like 6 weeks without, or a month to 6 weeks without like even thinking about playing No Limit Hold'em, and I feel like my game's progressing, and maybe we've made some money too, then that'll just be it. The transition will have been made, and we can look back on our No Limit Hold'em career fondly, be grateful for the things it's given me, and then look forward to something brand new. 3 aces. No fucking clue what to do with these. Won't be raising them. I can guarantee you that. Unless he raises, then we just try and get it in against him. I'm just going to complete, I think. Because I don't know what else to do. Folding seems insane. Very rare yellow tag coming out on the pot limit Omar. If I was tagging myself, I would get the yellow tag. Do we want to play the 7-7 Ace-7? I think from the cut-off, yes. From middle position, no. Another thing Jane Anders said yesterday was when you think about isolating players, like kind of move yourself one seat further back, if that makes sense. So like use the range or the types of hands you would be opening from middle position. So he's limped under the gun, so I should probably be using my, and I'm in middle position, so I should probably be using my under the gun range with which to isolate him. And I wouldn't open this hand under the gun, so therefore I shouldn't be looking to isolate that player. It says King King no suits, which is a shame. Suits would have been nice. Turn the nuts on what is becoming an increasingly dynamic board. And take it down. This guy's just posted, so we're going to go with a somewhat loose ISO. Again, would I open this hand under the gun? Maybe it's just the bottom of a range, and with the dead money of the straddle being in there too, I think I'm more incentivized to open it. I'm going to take a free card here. That's some like backdoor equity around the spades. We've got the low flush draw. And we turn a pair as well, which gives us a gut shot. Just going to keep checking. Get there on the end. I hope he doesn't bet. If he bets, we'll probably beat him. We can't, given the line we've taken, we can't fold here. But I don't love it. But we win. This table at the moment isn't looking too clever with the two very short stacked players. And the kind of knit fish. I think we'll have a look at the lobby in a moment. Maybe pause the video, try and find a better table than this one. It's suited to the ace, I would isolate, but it isn't, so we're not going to. Try and isolate this guy. Raise to try and knock this dude out, the big blind out. We failed to do that. Call here. And I think, do we just lead here or do we go with the check raise? I think I'm just going to lead actually and just call it off. Yeah, up against a set, which is not good. And we do not get there. And we are not going to pair this up with our low flush on a paired board. Ironically, us losing that pot now makes this table slightly more attractive. Slam dunk ISO with the ace 8-8 with the suit. Be delighted to see a 3-bet. Nope, that is not forthcoming. Delighted to see a limp shove. That is also not forthcoming, but we do flop ourselves a middle set on a very, very dynamic board. There's about 1,000,001 straight draws out there. There's flush draws out there. We're just going to bet really big. Absolutely snap calls. We turn quads, which now makes me want to check and let him get there. We want to see a 10, 9, club, queen, loads and loads of cards that can improve him. Oh, please have a jack. Have jack 5, right. I'm going to bet big here because if he doesn't have a jack, he's not calling anyway. He can't call with his missed draws. So we're just going to bet big and hope he has the jack or whatever. I think the check on the turn there's fine. I like give him chance to improve to a second best hand he can't get away from. I mean, we miss value from draws, but he's going to be less willing to call with draws on the turn there once the board pairs. Well, one would imagine he is. I mean, who knows? Maybe he gives 0 fucks about paired boards and still chases small flushes anyway. But I think I'd rather take the chance on missing some value from his draws on the turn, and hopefully they get there in the river, and maybe he bets and calls a raise afterwards. Again, the straddle is incentivizing me to raise with this hand, where otherwise I might not have raised. This is going to be my mum on the phone about the pie, so it's going to mute a moment. It was indeed Mum, and she's leaving her house in 10 minutes to go and collect the pie, so which means she'll be down here probably in about 25 minutes, so I'm going to stop the recording in 25 minutes. But this is the most I've enjoyed making a video in quite a while, so hopefully some of you guys enjoy it too. I know it won't do well in terms of numbers of views, because Pot Limit Omar just doesn't do as well, but hopefully for you guys who are interested in more than just No Limit Hold'em, it's been a reasonable watch. There's probably going to be lots more of these to come, because it doesn't hurt me to record while I'm playing. When I'm recording live No Limit Hold'em sessions, it's boring as shit because I'm a tight player, and there aren't just many situations we're going to get in. In Pot Limit Omaha, I think they make for much better live sweat videos than No Limit do. So, I'm not going to commit to any video making schedule, but if I'm playing in the mornings through the week, it's pretty likely I'm going to record most of the sessions. And this guy's taking it to another level, isn't he, so far? 8/4. Very small sample size. Almost certainly not going to be an accurate reflection of his game. Not in love with these like mega dry aces. It's really hard to continue post flop when we don't make sets against mega loose players. Not massively disappointed, just to take it down there. We probably will try to isolate this two suited Broadway cards from the button. Probably wouldn't from the cut up, but from the button I think there can't be an awful lot wrong with it. We've got the better of the two flush draws, backdoor straight draw and the backdoor flush draw, but I think we're just going to take a free card. And another thing, I would have been bombing away at that. For watching last night, but I saw Jane Anders taking quite a lot of free cards with just flush draws. I think he probably has a flush here. I think we can go pretty big and just confidently fold to a raise. Very nice. Very nice indeed. It's amazing how much more confident I feel today than I did even yesterday morning. Just after watching just a few hours of content, it's fucking ridiculous how much extra confidence that has given me. I'm going to call again here and fold when he makes 18 bigs on the river. Oh, he makes it one big again. I mean, we lose here all the time. We're getting like a zillion to one. 4, 6, 2, 7. Nice, sir. Nice. Nice. Well done. Well done. And the King 8, Jack Queen. It's going to be a raise. It's going to be an ISO if he limps, which he almost certainly will, given he's playing 82% of hands. Flopping trips is nice. This should be a good bluff candidate because we do have the nut blocker, but it's something I'd be much more inclined to do when we're deeper stacked than against that stack depth. We might be approaching very tiny Profitville for the session. Which again, not overly asked about. Nice to make a profit. Not too bothered if we don't. Much more interested in how well I feel I've played and how well I've actually played. And I feel I've played close to my current best, which is all I can do. feel much more in control than I have previously when playing this game. Quite often I feel like the game kind of gets away from me sometimes when I'm playing. Like I'm not really in control of what I'm doing. I know I am. I'm the one who ultimately clicks the buttons, but I guess a better way of putting it would I feel like because I feel like I know what I'm doing more. I feel like my discipline is better. I'm annoyed we've got all these short stacks at this table, but take it where it's worth. I think with like an SPR of less than 2 here and a wheel and a backdoor flush draw to go without overpair, we're just going to put the money in. We don't have a wheel draw, you fucking idiot. We have a backdoor wheel draw, but never mind. The idea remains the same. If the suit was to the ace, I would ISO here, but it's not, so we're going to fold. It's going to be a shame to leave some of these games in 15 minutes, but the good thing about these games is that when you're in a good no limit game, you don't always want to leave it because, you might not find one as good for a while. You can find these games 24/7, so leaving them knowing you're going to come back to similarly soft games after Mum goes home. They were literally as soon as I've taken, we've got Mum shopping here. We do a online shop for her now, so she doesn't have to go to the supermarket. And as soon as she's seen the house, I'll probably take her home with the shopping, have a coffee with her at her house, and then come back and get on the grind for another hour or so. At the moment, I'm feeling like I'm going to have no problem putting 5 and 6 hour days together because I'm just super incentivized to play. I'm loving it at the moment. There's a no limit. I can be like, oh God, do I have to play again? Am I going to play again? So yeah, at the minute I'm feeling like 40-hour weeks are going to be pretty fucking easy to put in, or at least 35-hour weeks are going to be pretty easy to put in. Basically going to be a full-time pot limit Omaha grinder. Hopefully. Pretty miserable flop. We do have a 10 ball low for the nuts, which we do not hit. We still have the 10 ball for the nuts, but now it needs to be a black one or a blue one. We might just have the best hand here with our 2 kings. I'm not going to be calling any bets, of course, but we might have the best hand. If it checks through, we might win. Mindonk. This guy never check raises. Oh well, check raises 1%, so we're going to value bet our aces. Don't like the 4. Don't like the blue one. I'm going to call over here with our relatively weak draw. And probably just fold the turn if it bets. If there's a significant sized bet going in. Play this guy for quite a bit. He's very, very face up post flop. Or at least he seems to be. So we're not drawing to the nuts anymore. We hit a black one to make a straight. We can't really continue. So I think we're just going to fold here, even though we do have a draw to the nuts. Like an offsuit king would give us the nuts, but we're not likely to get paid on it. So we just let it go. I'm going to be raising our queen here if no one else raises. We're going to be calling if somebody does. Trying to like not be too obvious with my timing, even though I know I'm raising straight away there. Trying to like just use a bit more time bank. We do have a top pair and a gutter ball. Don't think we can continue with the bet though. I'm not loving the situation here, but we can't fold just yet, I don't think. I'm probably going to fold the turn if he bets like 15 or more. Maybe I'm just going to fold anyway, no matter what he bets, unless it's tiny. It's certainly going to fold to a pot size bet. No joy with the pretty loose open, so firmly in just give up territory. King, Queen, Ace 4 is a slam dunk open from the cutoff, especially given we're deep stack with this guy in the blinds. Again, we flop a pair. I'm going to bet here, hopefully knock the button out, and then try and play heads up against the big blind. Or just take it down, which I'm fine with. This feels close. We're going to go for it, but it feels like right on the bottom of an isolating range. Maybe it's even too wide. I think suited to the ace, it's a no-brainer. Suited to the king, I think it makes a difference. How much difference, I'm not sure. And then this guy's just like done that. And I don't know what I'm going to do. Now he's come along. I was going to fold here. He might just like back raise, pile it in. It could all get very silly. I was going to accept that we're probably dead. He did put the back raise in. Would we have won? Not fucking likely. So yeah, I'm not sure what this dude was doing there. His line's blur. His line's obviously fine. His line is just lunacy. Pretty dry flop with some back doors. We're just going to make a stab. Don't love it, but I don't want to check fold, so we're going to take a stab. Didn't love that, but it looks like it might work. And our friend just punted his stack off all over the shop there. We're just going to play around to our blinds on all tables and then move along. We have a nut flush draw here. We're just going to check and call. We have a top set here. Nothing really to protect against if someone's got a flush. They're already there. So not that much to protect against. Given the line we've taken, I think we can't fold here. Don't love it. The Queen 10's got there now as well. Is someone really betting it straight here? Probably not, so it's flush or nothing, I think. And it was the flush, never mind. So, stand up. No more. Oh, it put me blind in, then I fucked off. That was bad timing, Reg. Timing was not good there. Slam dunk ISO on the button here against the under the gun limp with the suited ace and 3 broadways. Not the flop we were looking for. Weren't looking to be donked into either. This guy's finally found his raise button, so no price for guessing what we think he's got. Is he really that face up? Does he really have aces here? We're going to find out. No. There you go. Didn't think he was a true 14-4. True 14-4s don't show up with that, so yeah, his stats. His stats aren't true. I mean, obviously he's going to be a pretty tight player. But I don't think he's going to be 14-4 tight. King 10, Jack, Jack. He's going to be a peel against under the gun. And it's going to be a fold versus a c-bet. Make sure we don't post any more blinds, because it would irritate me. Can't be asked sitting around one tabling, so we'll see our next hand and then we'll just shut up shop. Nope, that'll do. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. I certainly did. If you would like to get involved with discussing some pot limit Omar, please do join the Facebook group, or if you're already in there, please do post hands, and I will promise to comment on every single hand that is posted and give my thoughts on it. So, yeah, take care, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll be back next week with some more hot pot limit Omaha content. Take care, and bye bye for now.